Welcome to the Varside Spurs podcast, coming to you all the way from the Varside Arms. Joining me tonight, we have Andy. How you doing, Andy?
Yeah, I'm all right, thanks, Steve. Couldn't ask for a better weekend. Thank you.
Okay. You could have asked for a better weekend, but you chose not to, by the sounds of it.
No, it was a brilliant weekend. Everything that happened was brilliant.
Okay. Superb. We'll come on to that. Maybe you can tell us about that in a little bit more detail. We'll just say hello to our fellow Varsider. So we're also joined by Lee. How you doing, Lee?
Good, thank you very much. Been brewing this weekend. Brewed myself a nice London Porter, which is should be fairly similar to Fellowship.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Why would it be a London Porter? Because you're not from London. You're from out in the sticks.
How do you know? I was born in Barking, so in my birth certificate it says the London Borough of Barking.
Oh.
Okay, so is it a London? It's a London. It's a heritage porter.
You don't have to be. Yeah, you don't have to be from the area to brew it. You know, that's what I brew IPAs, and you do you?
Yeah. Otherwise,
fair enough.
Yeah. Otherwise,
it's not like champagne.
Where you're nicking,
it's just a style.
Yeah, I think you have to call it British
Essex
Porter.
Essex Porter.
Essex Porter. Yeah. Dark
porter,
water.
Mate. It's just porter.
Excellent. Yeah. You and what's that guy's name? The West Ham fellow that loves who was on The Apprentice. I can't remember his name.
Lee McQueen.
No, not Lee McQueen. No,
no, he's Spurs, isn't he?
he is Spurs. I can't remember his name. Yeah, Alan Sugar. I can't remember. There's another guy. Yeah. He's always going Bosch or something. He sells pillows or some shit like that.
Mate, Bosch.
And he was
loads of money.
Yeah, that's him. Yeah, no, that's definitely him. Yeah, man. Thanks, Andy. Always helping a man out. Okay, let's crack on. So, I thought we'd just start with the Spurs women's game, actually.
Yeah, please. Yeah.
Seen as we'd probably spend more time talking about the satisfactory game on the Saturday. So, did either of you watch the women's game at all?
I watched the highlights. I haven't been able to see it. No.
Seen the highlights as well. Yeah.
Okay. So I mean, I missed the first 20 minutes, but I managed to sit down and watch the rest of the game, and it wasn't bad actually. It wasn't bad. It was a given Nuno's talking about our DNA and everything. It was definitely a Spurs DNA performance because it was backs to the wall, being pummeled for ages, and that we. Yeah, to be fair, that Rhiannon Skinner, she made all the subs figured in the goals basically. So the changes made a difference. I think the first kick Graham she brought on, and with her first touch, she set up. I can't pronounce her name now, but Agabulu or something like that. Her name is, and she set up a goal straight away. So within 2 touches, it was like. If you're a manager and you're going to make a change, that's just inspired. So I don't think Man City realised this new player was on effectively. She'd come on and ran straight on, received the ball in the middle of the pitch, passed it out wide, and all of a sudden it's 1-1. And then
wow,
it was a sloppy equaliser though, wasn't it? I mean, how that keeper really should have got to that one.
Well, I think there was a slight deflection. I think there must have been a deflection on the shot because it just the ball across was a good ball across, but it looked like she kicked it from behind her. So you would have thought there would have been a better connection on the shot. And I think, so I just think there must have been a slight deflection off a defender's leg that kind of took it
could be.
On target.
And then the winner was a bit of a strange one as well, wasn't it, really? It was one that's pinged off a couple of arms before it went in.
Yeah, and Ayan, I think it was who was up there, and her arms are way above her head. It's definitely her hand, and it was more than dodgy. But to be fair, beyond that, we had I think there was after we'd scored that there was a couple of one-on-ones, and there was one where the player was through on goal, and she was flagged offside, and the nearest defender was keeping her way onside. And I think like the pace that she had, I think through on goal, you kind of would have backed her to score, because she was one of the ones that had come on and made an impact. So if we're going to look at dodgy decisions, that was also a dodgy decision. So I think VAR would have come to our rescue on that and would have ruled out the winner, but we'd have got the winner anyway, in my opinion. So it's a great result. We're not expected to go up to Man City and beat Man City at their ground. That's a 100% start to the season. Seen that before. So two wins out of two. She'll get the third win. Be made manager of the month, and then it'll all go pear-shaped.
And then everybody will want her out. That's great.
But for the time being, it's looking a lot better. We looked a lot more cohesive and looked like we knew what we were doing a lot more than when I saw some games last year. So they brought a couple of people in, and obviously Skinner's managed to get some of her philosophy embedded. And so happy days. That was good.
Yeah, brilliant. Yeah,
that was good. Okay, so there was also another game at the weekend. I'm not sure if you saw it. So we were away at Palace, and I have to hold my hands up from the beginning. This was the first game that I got to see like all season. What with it being a Saturday and all that. So this was the first game I got to see all season, and we lost. So I'm taking the credit, lads.
Yeah, you're the jinx.
Yeah, please don't watch football.
I won't be watching any more games. So 3-0. So let's start off at the beginning, shall we? So we had Sanchez, Romero, who probably wouldn't have figured anyway, and Lo Celso out quarantining or away, wherever they're doing in Croatia, beering it up or whatever they're doing. Yeah. Sonny came back from international duty injured. Bergwijn came back from international duty injured. So it meant that Emerson Royale came in at right back for his debut. Tanguy was moved. Sorry, not Tanguy. Yeah. Tanganga was moved into centre back, and we started with a midfield three of Højbjerg, Skip, and Winks. So, Lee, what were your thoughts on trying not to go with hindsight? What were your thoughts at that point? In terms of the changes to the team based on what we had available anyway.
Also, try not to use the word shit at any point during your...
I mean, to be fair, I think there wasn't much really you could do about it. He was pretty hamstrung with the choice that he would have had. I mean, the bench spoke volumes. Some of the players on there wouldn't have been on the bench ordinarily. So that there's not much else that really Nuno could have done. Although having said that, I probably would have played Tanguy from the beginning rather than Winks, because we really need a little bit more dynamism in there. But I can see why he chose the players that he did. But the defence was, not very familiar with each other. That said, I thought Emerson actually had a decent game overall. I thought, he, for his first, and I know it was not a great result or anything, but I think for his first match, at the beginning, I thought he looked quite strong. I thought he was matching up pretty well. I thought Lucas had a strong game for me. He stood out. His feet were brilliant at times, and for quite a part of that game, you were
watching his feet.
Yeah.
Is this a new kind of match analysis that you just watch people's feet?
No, it's just a fetish that I have. But no, he really quick feet, and he was beating people with because of his speed and
Yeah.
And I thought I thought he had a really good match, but up until the point where the game turned on the sending off, we weren't brilliant. I mean, let's face it, we only had 2 shots the whole game, but I thought we were in it, and I thought if anyone was going to be able to unpick the lock, it would have been Lucas. But there's a lot of things that happened that conspired against us in this match. Not making lots and lots of excuses, but I think. There were so many mitigating reasons, but also a lot to be disappointed with as well. Clearly Nuno afterwards in his post-match wasn't happy either. There was a lot of things that he thought were lacking in this performance, and I think it would be naive to say otherwise, really.
Yeah. Andy, what were your thoughts? Certainly, I mean, if going back to team selection, etc., and how the game panned out.
I'll just add, sorry, one thing I forgot to add there based on that. The team selection, I was reasonably happy with, but I was just a bit surprised where he ended up playing Delhi, because this new role that he's been occupying, there's a sort of box-to-box midfielder, has served us well, I think. Bit of a surprise Skip ended up playing, but as he did, I thought Delhi probably should have occupied that role instead. And really didn't affect the game at all where he was replaced, when he's put further up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No, I thought that I agree, Lee. Actually, that Delhi should have started in that position, because I know it's not naturally his position, but you just get the feeling that he's growing into it and he's quite enjoying it. And pushing him forward, he just seemed a bit lost. And on the left-hand side, I just don't think I know he has played there quite a bit, but I just don't think he excels there, really, not these days, for whatever reason. But I thought also a turning point in the game was when Dyer went off. It was almost I thought our heads went down a little bit when Dyer went off, because it was almost like, oh no, not another one. I suppose the build up to the game has been a bit disruptive because of the lack of players at Hotspur Way and people being away on international break for whatever reason. And when you start losing one of your senior players, and I know Dyer gets a lot of stick, but he's had a good start to the season. And without Sanchez there, he's also had a good start to the season. You start thinking, if you're on the pitch, you're thinking, Christ, not another one. It's just going to add to the problems that we've already got. And I think these small percentages make a big difference. So although overall I think we only differed by 2 or 3 of our normal starting 11, I think actually the overall dynamic had changed quite a lot with Tanganga being moved inside a bit, into the central defence.
That diamond didn't really work. It started okay.
The diamond didn't work.
Didn't work in the end.
No,
I don't think.
No.
Well,
sorry, Stu. Yeah,
go on. I mean, I'm just going to say. I mean, it was actually 4. It had been 4 of our starting 11 that we were without. I think, is that right? Or we were certainly without.
Because we didn't have Sanchez, didn't have Sonny, didn't have Bergwijn.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Another thing that disappointed me, Steve, was actually Nuno's lack of substitutions, because I thought there were several key moments there that really could have affected the game. Like with Tanganga, I mean, we could clearly see that, as a young man, I mean, he was great at the beginning, but I think he started to lose his composure a bit.
Who would you have brought on?
Well, I think Rodon.
That was the problem.
Rodon for him at that point. And I think because he played well afterwards, but I think at that point either someone in the team.
Rodon was already on.
Was he already on at that point? I thought
that was the problem. I think that was the problem. We just
Rodon,
right. Okay.
So I mean, if you look at the way the game actually panned out, if you listen to the all the commentators and the people, the Twitter, even the Twitter experts who say that after, we lost control of the game after about 20 minutes. Now, Dyer, who, prior to the start of the season, we would never have said was, a key player, for example, and everyone was still